Hi, everyone. This is Keith Summers at HealthCorum. Thanks for joining my presentation. I'd like to give you an overview of our company, our solutions, and how we're making an impact on the managed care space. So I'll take you through a couple of slides here, give you an idea of really, what we're doing and what makes HealthCorum unique. I want to start by introducing our team, who in their own right, each person has made quite an impact already in the U.S. healthcare space. But everyone here has experience that has contributed to our success and our ability to grow and scale HealthCorum as an organization. Just quickly going from left to right, our CEO, Ewan Amigi, our Chief Innovation Officer, Murat Altman, myself serving as Chief Revenue Officer, Gokhan Chamachka, who is our Chief Analytics Officer, Dr. Roki Chauhan, our Chief Medical Officer, and Beth Carvetti, who is our VP of Clinical Analytics. All of these folks are experts in their field and have really taken their experience, their knowledge over the past couple decades and come together as a team at HealthCorum. And our company has basically taken the approach of taking the best in breed and taking it to the next level. So HealthCorum came to market in 2020. We, at first have essentially highlighted markets that we wanted to go after, being health plans. Small regional health plans was where we got our start in the middle of COVID in 2020. And we then evolved to really start focusing on any risk-bearing entity, but more so on the payer side and then the self-funded employer ecosystem. So that's typically who we're looking at going after. We also have an advisory board that is very experienced in this space as well. But in general, the reason we got into this into the first place was to really enable the reduction of low value care and deliver solutions that can help these different stakeholders to reduce waste and further push the mission of value-based care and ultimately drive towards greater value and better results for all stakeholders. So that's really what we're after, what we're all about. That's a key component of what we're doing and what we're measuring when we think about how does one provider compare to their peers. Now, our vision has come to life in a way where we're able to actually ingest claims data and then benchmark providers against other similar providers to identify those right providers for success. And what we mean by that are trying to find those that are more judicious and cost effective, delivering high value care, and reducing waste. So kind of the best of both worlds when you think about what's that optimal outcome. And our overall quality score is an indicator of just that. So those higher scores are those that are typically embodying those characteristics, reducing total cost of care, still delivering high quality care. We then use that information and serve it up to our clients and partners to be plugged in for various strategies around care navigation, network optimization, referral management, and so forth. So I think that our company, really has a number of strengths around the product maturity, our ability to take data, make it meaningful and actionable. Our weaknesses can sometimes even be looked at as strengths because we're small, so we have a small team. But that also allows us to be nimble and agile and move much more quickly than some of the larger players in the space. That said, we are still trying to gain exposure and market penetration. So becoming a known player in the space and being able to be a household name is something that I think we can continue to improve on. Now, this is just a quick view of physician score. To give you an idea of how this comes together, this is our core competency. So we're essentially building metrics in-house that leverage the claims data as building blocks. And those fall into one of three categories around appropriateness of care, cost efficiency, and effectiveness of care. All of this is visible and transparent, so you can drill down and see, for example, what is the metric value for low value care cost per patient. You can see this across every provider that we have in our database, which is a nationwide view. And typically a provider has somewhere around 20 or so metrics. These vary by specialty. So we spent a lot of time making sure that this is a fair, unbiased, apples-to-apples comparison, and that this can be relied on as a source of truth for different use cases. So use case-wise, we see a couple different ones that stand out above the rest. Of course, it depends on the market, but anything on the health plan side in regards to creating, optimizing, or expanding networks, those have proven to be very successful. And then more in the self-funded ecosystem, there's a big push towards how can you help members navigate to those high-performing providers. We've proven this out basically where we can show that if you serve the right information to the right people, they'll make better decisions, and that'll lead to those positive outcomes. So that's really what we're after and what we're trying to achieve through these different use cases and strategies. Now, one thing we've also done as part of this process over the past couple of years is figure out what other ancillary information we can pull together to create something that's greater than the sum of its parts and can provide kind of a one-stop shop experience for our clients. And to that extent, we made the decision to launch what we call the Transparency Hub API. I bring that up because it demonstrates not only kind of the breadth of data that we can bring to the surface on the price transparency side, right, data coming from MRFs, but also our ability to partner with other organizations and bring them into various opportunities that we're working on, or vice versa. So we're very flexible in that regard. We have a number of partnerships that are feeding into this price transparency hub that we've developed. And then, of course, we have more of a traditional provider search directory use case. This is an example of one that is deployed to ShareCare, who is leveraging our data and their search tool for their clients. And this is being served up to the employees that are accessing this in the search, as well as care navigators that are helping them find those right providers. So this has been, kind of a bread and butter use case for us, and HealthCorum can essentially fit into any search tool directory as long as they can, basically create some UI and load a bit of data from our side around those scores. We also have use cases that are out in the market today that are more around network modeling, as I mentioned, where you can actually use the scores as kind of the basis for a competitive network comparison or market expansion and seeing relative to full landscape of providers, what would make the most sense from a network strategy perspective. What you're seeing here on the screen are some examples of our scores being leveraged in the Zealous platform. And we have a couple of active health plan clients that are taking advantage of this and using this in the market today. And then we also can do many things that are, I think, custom in a way, but we can move very quickly on those. This is an example of something we developed actually with one of our first clients, which was the health plan in Wisconsin. And we took that sunburst at the bottom, which gives a lot of great information, but combined it with some other information about how the provider in question is compared to their the population of their peers. What are the chronic conditions and the population demographic mix look like? So starting to tell a story, and the health plan wanted us to develop this to actually serve and use in collaboration with their primary care practices that they were contracted with. So this is now a staple, and of course, all of our clients are using our scorecards in one way or another. But good way to demonstrate, I think, the agility and our ability to move quickly and develop new solutions and new deliverables as needed in the market. Now, here's an example of what could be achieved when actually deploying this. And so this is with that health plan I just mentioned that had around 100,000 members. We looked at the market. This was the state of Wisconsin, and we identified 2,000 low-value providers, low scores that their members were utilizing in the previous year. And we did a study with them to essentially say, what could the difference have been if those members had instead only utilized high-scoring providers? So we broke this down by 3 categories, looking at procedures, prescriptions, and facility charges. We saw the actuals, And then we saw those kind of what if values if instead high value providers had been utilized. And so we identified for them around $60 million in potential savings annually as the total pie. And then we worked with them to essentially build a strategy to target the low-hanging fruit to start with. So we looked at certain specialties. Ultimately, we worked with them and we came to this number of around 5% that they would budget in potential savings for year one, 10% in year two, and so forth. So it's that type of consultative work that we can do and get in the weeds to not only deliver the right data, but help make it actionable and put a plan in place to make it successful. So kind of wrapping up here a bit, thinking about what we can bring to the managed care space. What does this all mean? How can it be impactful? At the end of the day, what we can demonstrate is that these HealthCorum scores can be a real indicator of value, and they can help guide towards lower total cost of care. So what we're seeing here are two charts. On the left, we're looking at total cost of care in comparison to readmission rates, and we're seeing that those higher scores again, have lower total cost of care, but they're not sacrificing on quality. So those are moving in the right direction together. And the same on the right, but swapping in adverse events rates. With this data, you can essentially implement a number of strategies to help managed care organizations make these shifts, right, and put this to work. So I think it can be really impactful in a number of different ways. And there's flexibility in terms of deployment. It's not just one area of an organization where it can fit in. There's really a lot of opportunity across various departments and wings of an organization in the managed care space. Now, lastly, I think we do a really good job of bringing some new technologies to the table that we've developed to help bolster our offering and make this a bit unique. So here's a couple highlights, but some key takeaways are around some of the technologies we developed, where we are able to basically deploy detection around referrals, low value care, specialty and subspecialty types. And then we give all this visibility. There's no black boxes at HealthCorum. So we're able to really drill down and see what's going on and understand the methodology and the processes there. Lastly, we, I think, are very collaborative as an organization, both, again, partnering with others to bring their data to our clients and vice versa. We plug in basically anywhere. So we can be the intel inside if there's a solution that can leverage this data in one of the various use cases I outlined during the presentation, and happy to explore new ones as well. And then the last thing I'll leave you with as kind of a nod to some of the innovative things that we're doing right now is taking the scorecard to the next level. We've recently rolled out what we call our Provider Insights tool, which takes that scorecard underlying data and actually feeds it into a language model we developed to deliver text that can be tailored to a certain audience, whether that be a member or a care navigator or a network manager. And that's just been developed in the past 6 months or so. We continue to innovate, bring new solutions to market, and we're excited to hopefully partner with members and others in the community to make healthcare more affordable, higher value, and less wasteful. So net gain for all that are involved. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to take some questions.